Good morning, Harry.
Hi,
Uh,
Tom.
I think you must be our furthest respondent. You're in Canada. Thank you so much for joining us today. My first question is, what do you like about your work?
Well, I'm retired now, so I love my work in that I'm in art. I'm creating prints from the art originals I create, and that's wonderful. It's something that I started. I retired when I was 60, and I've been retired for about 3 years now. And art is beautiful. I love it. My original pathway was chemistry. I was fascinated by it in the early days. I got a chemistry set, and that set me off in my love for chemistry. My passion went into a number of different chemical industries, and I quite enjoyed the exploration of chemistry. I loved it in high school more than I did in college. Parts of the college program I was in got me into electronics, mechanical, air transport. There was a number of varied areas I looked at in first year, and then second and third years became a little more interesting and back to the chemistry, chemistry only. And it was a fascinating exploration for me. So high school was great. First year college was so. I didn't like electronics too much, and the chemical part of it all was brilliant. We had some great professors, and it was an interesting journey.
And then, so what was it specifically about, sort of early on in your career? What did you like about working in chemistry?
Early on, when I finished college, it was a 3-year program I took in Canada. I left England when I was 15, so I finished year 4. And in Canada, they have a different system over here. So I kind of jumped a grade because we started earlier in England. And I ended up getting into electroplating. I finished college and it was electroplating I got into, which is a funny thing because at that time, Germany was really the only place you could get training in electroplating. So I was kind of learning on the job. So I worked at this plant as electronic plant for about 2 years, creating circuit boards. And that was an interesting journey, but it was very polluted. The safety precautions back then weren't good. Formaldehyde was used in a lot of the plating baths, cyanide for the gold plating. And I really wasn't comfortable working there. So I moved on, went into soap and lotion and shampoo industry. Jergens, I don't know if anybody uses Jergens products, but it was interesting. I met a number of great people, and I worked more in quality, a little bit in the lab, but very little. And I think it was lab I really was looking for. So I got into a job in the fertilizer industry, and I wanted to stay there. It was a great job in the lab. But I was only filling in for someone that was on a maternity leave. So I ended up in a pharmaceutical plant and absolutely loved it. The lab was great. People were great. And it was an exploration of a whole pile of chemistry that I loved. And I learned so much. I thought I knew a lot coming out of college, and I didn't. I was really pretty stupid. So I ended up loving the lab and learning huge amounts, and took my journey all the way through the lab, doing analysis of pharmaceuticals, raw materials, doing stability testing, dissolution, so many different areas that I explored. I even got into robotics for about 5 years. And early robotics, which was horrible, it didn't work. They didn't work very well, and we had poor computer systems based on DOS, and it wasn't great. Then later on, we got into this different robotic system that you pretty well prepared everything and pushed the button, and off it went and analyzed everything for you. So that was great. So I loved that exploration. So yeah, it took me. You just never know where you're going to end up, and working with robotics would have been my last thought when I first started out, but it ended up being a great journey. I loved it.
Excellent, excellent. You just used the word starting out. You are an alumni of Southmoor Academy.
Yes.
I would love to hear a bit more about how you started out and that journey from the north of England out to Toronto.
Oh, well, my Southmoor I loved. It was a great school. It was back when there was corporal punishment, so we were scared of the teachers at the time. But it was a good school. They had some good educators there. The chemistry teacher was great. I think that's part of why I loved chemistry. I also loved biology too. So I had science in the mind before I came to Canada. My parents emigrated to my uncle's farm, and this little English kid from a fairly large city ended up on a farm, pig farm, and I lasted there about a year and a half. And my uncle decided, oh, we're going to sell up, and so anyway, I continued my education in Canada. I loved it, and the college was in Oshawa. It's just outside of Toronto, and it had a really good program. It was a 3-year program. The first year was a common year where we learned electronics, mechanical, chemical, air transport. There was actually budding pilots in the program in the first year. And then I went into second and third year. I was actually the only full-time student in third year because 12 had started out in the first year and most of them had dropped out. It was 2 of us in second year and the lady that I was with dropped out. So I was by myself in third year, which was bizarre. And it wasn't because the program was too hard. It was just everybody finds their niche. You never know quite what you're going to do. And college sometimes opens your eyes up a little bit. And good exploration there.
Excellent, excellent. What would you? I mean, you've worked in a number of roles as you've described. You've made a turn, sort of later on in life towards art. What would you say to someone starting out today?
I would say explore your passion. Like you'll find something that triggers, your emotions a little bit. 2 things triggered my emotions when I was in high school, and that was chemistry. And then we had a couple of great art teachers in Southmoor. Art became a passion too. And I was always kind of doodling. So art and chemistry were the 2 biggies for me. So exploring those 2 pathways for the first little while, I realized that chemistry was where I was going to get a job. I would have liked to have gone to art, but I would have been along with another, 10 million kids that loved art. Be like being a soccer manager or a soccer player. Not everybody's going to make it. So I realized quickly that chemistry was a good bet, and I liked it. So I took the chemistry pathway, and then I actually did a lot of part-time artwork while I was, doing my regular chemical job. So it was tough to make that first decision. Once I'd made it, I knew I'd made the right decision. But everybody's different. Everybody's going to make a different decision. You're gonna take a risk sometimes and go with, your primary passion, which may not pay a lot, but you'll be happy. And that's important. Now I was happy with chemistry, which was lucky. And art, I always said, when I retire, I'll become a full-time artist. And that's what's happened. I love my art. I'm starting to sell, and I'm getting great. And things like Facebook, we didn't have back in my high school days. So Facebook's helping me get my name out there, and it's great. I love it.